Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the Patreons, make sure to subscribe and let's get into it guys. So while we wait for the patch, Gaijin is actually releasing dev server updates. So we just got one apparently today I think, and we got some very interesting information on this thing guys. So yeah, let's just go right into it. First of all, thank you Washida. Xabi as well for doing normally these dev server data mines or data mines in general of every kind. It helps a lot players do this. It is really important, especially for me as a content creator, to actually find this stuff. So thank you as always. I will leave the link for this in the description. And let's go. So a new flag, a Weimar Republic, which is very interesting to say the least. Aircraft flight model changes. Apparently the spin loss, I don't know what this means exactly for the MiG-29s, are changing for the wings. So I don't know what this means exactly. If you know, let me know in the comments. But yeah, changes to the MiG-29s. Aircraft weapon changes, some minor like weapon loadout changes as you see over here. Obviously, chefs and other stuff being added for the M9Ms and Ls and stuff. So yeah, just the normal changes that we normally have. Then we have the Super Etendard. So finally it is getting its proper radar. And let me just check one thing guys. Super Etendard, this was the 4M's radar. And now it's going to get the Anemone. I don't know. But I'm gonna check one thing very quickly. So yeah, I just checked. This is a PESA radar guys. This is an electronic scanned radar. So this might be the first one in the game. Hopefully this is added correctly. But yeah guys, this might be a very interesting thing to take a look. This is the 1991 modernization of the original Super Etendard, you know. So we got the new radar, not the Agav old radar, right? So I don't know how many modes it has, or if the PESA is only for certain modes or anything like that. I don't know exactly, but I know that it is an electronic scanned array radar, which is a very interesting type that has near instant detection of targets. So yeah, very interesting to see these guys. Then we have some other sensor changes. The first one was a very weird one. For all of these are the J8 radar, the F-16's radars, the A variants, you know, the vegan radars. They said that they removed the pulse Doppler and added MPRF. So I don't know what this means exactly. It might be just a coding thing, because MPRF is a pulse Doppler, and I think MPRF was already added as the normal pulse Doppler. So it's probably just a naming kind of thing for coding. Probably, I think. I don't think anything will change on that. Some minor armor ship changes over here for the Cone, the Karhush, I don't know. Not gonna try. I'm kind of sick as well, so not gonna try that. Some tank changes as you see. This is weird, you know. Like a copy, the 72G is a copy of the E. I don't know exactly what this means, but yeah. Some other minor changes to ammo and minor armor changes for some tanks as well. This thing, I think it was the weird thing about the elevation that it was happening with the Chaparral, so yeah, that's good. Flare now have an emission profile. This is probably with something to do with the IRCCMs and things that they are working on it. So yeah, we will need to wait to see how the game is actually released and test every single thing about these IRCCMs and missiles again, because everything's subject to change, right? And then we go for the missiles. Here is the tasty part. First of all, Super 530s. So they are decreasing the seeker warm-up time for both the F and the D Super 530s, which is also a good thing. And the Super 530 F is receiving a working time of 100 seconds. So it's a slight buff, not a big thing, but still a very interesting one. MatAWG 2, you know, the magic that is all aspect baseline lock range is increasing, so it will probably have a more sensitive seeker. Flare Chef baseline lock range decreasing, so I think the IRCCM of the Magic 2 is getting buffed, with the seeker being buffed as well. So yeah, I think it's an overall buff of the Magic. We will need to wait and see how it is though. And here is the main thing. R-27Es. R-27 E's in general, the normal R's, the T's, everything. They are changing a lot on the flight performance of this missile. It's very interesting. So R-27ER air-to-air missile and R-27ER-1 air-to-air missile. This is for the German MiG. First of all, drag coefficient. I did the calculation in, if I'm not like mistaken, it is a 16% decrease. This is why. This is the reason why, because this number is a bigger change than that, right? I think. But the thing is that in the calculations of drag, or I don't know, I didn't do this calculation of just 16% of these. What I mean, I actually did the calculations with the drag coefficient in place in the missile, with the speed, everything like that. And I noticed that it kind of has a pattern of being 60% less dragful, if you will. So yeah, apparently it has a decrease of 16% on the drag. Okay. Then we go for the amount of turn. So the fins AOA increased it to 28.8 degrees. So a very hefty increase. This means that the missile will be able to turn a lot more, and you will see this on the stat card changes over here. Mass afterburner sustainer burn slightly increased, 3 kilograms, doesn't change much, but still. And here we have the major change, the booster. So the booster is actually receiving a massive buff in the booster and kind of a nerf in the sustainer. So the booster will be producing a lot more power, you know. It's a decrease of power, but a lot more time, and with that, you have a lot more power per second, you know. But the sustainer is being decreased by around 1 second, something like that, compared to the whole burner. You know, the whole burn of it is being decreased due to the sustainer being decreased by a lot to 4.8, with a slight increase of 1 kilonewton, basically, of power over here. 1.1 kilonewton, more or less. But a lot less time. I did the calculations per second with specific impulse and stuff. It should be around a 7% decrease in overall power being delivered in a very different way. So we will probably accelerate a lot less initially, very initially, you know, and later it will have more or less the same power until it starts to fade in the later stages of the burn. But there is a thing. It has a 7% decrease in power, in thrust, but a 16% decrease in drag. So I think it's a buff, you know. We are losing a lot more drag than we are losing power. So it means that the missile will it will be very slightly changed. The more, the thing that you will feel the more is the way that the power is being delivered, which is very different. But everything else should be around the same with a little bit of a buff, you know, having way less drag. But then we go for the turning capabilities. As you see over here, it is being increased to 35 G. So that's the thing. The R-27s will turn a lot more with the fins over here. So they will have around the same power, maybe less drag, meaning that the drag power coefficient there will be basically very similar to the same with a slight buff, but the major buff, I think, it's the turn. It will turn a lot more than it is turning right now. The E suffered the same changes as the ET, suffered the same changes overall, but it has a different drag coefficient here, so I would need to actually take a look on this, and each of these missiles would be a little bit different. But just for you to know, the engine itself is the same, as you see. But the decrease of drag, I think it's larger over here, so we might see an increasing range of the R-27ET with this decrease of drag. And of course, it is going to turn the same as the ER. And then the IR seeker of the ET got changed as well. So as you see, flare chaff baseline lock range decreased, which I think it's a buff. IRCM base lock range, less kilometers, I think it's a buff as well. All aspect afterburner baseline lock range, increase it to 9,000 meters, so I think it's a buff. So overall, I think it will have more energy, it will turn more, and have a better IRCCM, if I'm not mistaken. The only thing that I forgot to mention is the proximity fuse. It has a much larger delay, as you see, in the ET, and a slightly larger delay in the ER, and the trigger ratio of the radius of the proximity fuse is slightly decreased. So it will have to be a more precise missile to actually hit the target, you know. So it will be a little bit easier to avoid a missile such as this, a little bit, you know, because of this. But it will turn more, so it's, I think it kind of evens it out, probably on the side of being buffed. We saw some other changes to the R-27Rs and Ts as well, turning as well, same changes to the Es, as you see over here. Same changes to the proximity fuse. The only thing that is different is the booster power and stuff like that. So the actual number of seconds that it burns didn't change, but the booster force is being decreased. So yes, the R-27 will have less power, you know, so it will be basically, you know, but I mean, it still having the drag coefficient decreased over here, but you need to do the calculations. It's a small difference. Probably it will end up the same. The T's, they have the same level of seeker, G changes, burner, and everything like that as the other ones. Okay, then we go for the R-73s over here. Also, it feels like a buff. Flare chef baseline lock range, 10 kilometers instead of 11. It feels like a small change, but still, it feels like a change, you know. Oh, and then we have some other minor changes to prices and stuff, and other tech tree changes over here. Economic changes, you can always click here and take a look. Some other stat car images and other stuff, and text changes probably for a tutorial or something like that. Some new menu texts for IRST, Raiders, Tilt, and stuff like that. Probably just corrections and added to other minor things like that, you know. Menu changes as well, as you see over here, MFDs and stuff. So yeah, basically this is it. But interesting one, the last one that we're going to talk about, CDK edition, ultra high quality textures for the Rockath F-100F. This is a B-placed F-100. So very, very interesting to see that as well. Maybe it's for the crafting event. So we will take a look on that once it comes out. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe. A lot of changes to missiles especially. And I see you guys on the next one. Bye guys. See you.